good.
Thanks for sticking around.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
Thanks for
You know what? Let me take a peek.
Oh
boy.
Jesus Christ. Oh my
Can't
God.
leave it at the office.
You know, I have a lens in my pocket we can use.
could you each just talk a little bit about like what you felt personally, like what the most challenging aspects of going from sketch videos to
The divorce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly,
All married at this time.
I don't. I mean, I think and again, they'll not back me up if I'm not speaking for everybody, but like there wasn't one thing that was like surprisingly. It was like all aspects of the filmmaking process, and especially the independent filmmaking process and the distribution process and the marketing process are super difficult, especially when you're doing them independently. But there wasn't anything that was like surprisingly difficult about going from being a sketch group to making a narrative movie, because we knew that we were making a narrative movie with a story. And so we weren't like, oh man, we're just a sketch group. We've never really, it's just like it would have been, you know, we knew that we had this collaboration and we were approaching it like we have to create something that's a story. And so we just kind of went after it.
Yeah, I would say it'd be the same kind of stuff that pretty much any like short filmmaker who's been doing a lot of shorts on their own would go through going into a feature, which is a fuckload of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, no different necessarily sketch wise.
Cool. Okay. I've been reading a lot of interviews and stuff with you guys, but Maggie, you haven't been a part of a lot of them. So I just wanted to ask you, like, what was it like producing Mystery Team, and just what was the most rewarding part of that process for you?
I'll field this one.
Okay. I guess it's like sort of like simultaneously the most fun thing you've ever done, and like the biggest blast you're ever having, and like the hardest and most tired you've ever been, and like hardest thing you've ever done. So that sort of like rolled up in like a neat little ball of stress. But I guess the most rewarding thing was like that we all at the end of the day like just like loved each other and like had so much fun making the movie, and like that we got to experience together, and like even now like we'll talk about stuff, you know, and from back on set and stuff like that, and like it's just great that we all got to like be there and like do it together as friends.
Yeah, I think we officially became family on that set. So.
Yeah.
Cool. You guys have said that you pitched another idea around out a little bit before you decided to make Mystery Team. Could you tell me anything about that project?
You've heard of Scary Movie, right?
Yeah.
It was this, well no, it wasn't that, it was like Scary Movie but with food. It was called Food
It was
Movie.
good food movie?
Yeah.
It was just food going
wasn't
bad.
for
That's
anyone.
the problem.
Yeah.
What Hollywood
It doesn't
said was-
play, here's the
Hollywood was
problem
like-
with food going bad. It doesn't play well in areas that don't have a lot of food.
Yeah.
So,
like, a lot of time left.
so over in different countries, like
Yeah.
like when it was in the South African Film Festival.
was.
Holy
It was like, yeah, it was like Florida.
oh my gosh, people were outraged. People were just
We
like-
managed to get it made and into a festival though, but never got it.
Yeah, well, it was like the movie Babies, but with food, where there's like still some nice food in San Francisco, like some food in China, some food in Africa, and the African food just gets
So
eaten and
that's-
eaten. Then we just have a
really
shot of a
could be
table
I
that we keep
wouldn't
cutting
be
back to.
surprised if I see that
It's
movie.
like a lot of things, but impossible to describe
Yeah.
directly.
So
Yeah.
there's our answer. That's not a joke.
Yeah, no, that wasn't a joke. That was a true answer.
Good answer.
It was called Picked On.
It was called Pixon.
We actually like combed through it when we first moved to LA. There was like for some reason we were looking. A couple of us were looking through it, and there's like some of the bits were like standby as like, oh, that's a decently, but we just weren't as excited about the core idea of it.
The
has like
pitch
story.
of the movie was different from what the movie that you read was. And
Yeah.
that was kind of a disconnect. And as we were going around pitching it, we kind of were pitching a cooler movie than we'd written.
Yeah.
And then we came back and we're like, well, maybe we should write it into that movie that should have been. And then we're like, this is better.
Oh, we can do this.
Is that something that you guys are thinking about revisiting at all now that Mystery Team's over?
We could definitely lift
probably-
jokes out of it.
Yeah, we,
Okay.
Like there are
Yeah.
definite bits and jokes that can go.
We
lot,
took
but
some-
That's kind of the
put it into
problem.
Mystery Team.
The problem. Yeah, we kind of did some of that, but like they're actually kind. Oh yeah, we did that with Destiny.
Yeah.
Because that was a bit that was actually a picked on when she flew out of the car.
Yeah.
But there are other like that. I think that was the problem with picked on, is that you could just lift it out.
Okay.
And just
It
get
was
in
it was
there.
exactly the movie that I think people expect out of us, in the sense that it was
You
a
can't-
sketch.
Yeah.
It was basically a series of sketches, even though it did have a narrative.
It
The
wasn't
characters didn't really progress in a way that.
like you couldn't lift the joke in Mystery Team of him going to his car and lifting it up and there's a bike in
Yeah.
there.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
that's
Right.
It was more
totally
unique. Far
Jason.
more
Yeah,
unique.
so
That's a really good question.
Yeah, good.
I know that Donald, you were talking about Childish Gambino and doing an album and stuff. Is there any chance that you guys are doing guest spots on the verses and things like that?
DC does it on a lot of
albums.
Yeah.
DC's he's on all the last 2 mixtapes and the last 3 albums.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's been on all.
He's been on all the albums, yeah.
Cool. Good stuff. Now that Mystery Team's out on DVD, do you guys have any ideas for the next feature? Is it something that you're just kind of like waiting until you all are like really agree about something? You're like, oh yes, this.
Yeah, we have. We've even talked a lot about it. It's just that I think we've said it a lot, but it's just like we are afraid of kind of the sophomore slump, so to speak, and we really want to make sure that when we come out with our next movie, it's a like order of magnitude leap forward. And so that just takes some time in all of our careers and all that stuff.
Cool.
Yeah.
One more thing, I think. Yeah, the last question. Have you guys gotten any like crazy offers to be in any big like blockbuster?
I got offered to be president.
She did turn it
They
down.
wanted me.
Yeah.
Every
Please
movie
do it,
that's
Megan.
come out in the last 6 months,
Megan, please.
I was offered to be the lead in.
Yeah.
I turned down the lead.
Please.
Every movie that's come out in the last 6 months, I was offered to be the lead in, and I said no because it's just I'm an artist.
Yeah.
Was that question?
He was
like,
gonna be the dragon. How to
Like,
be
is
the
that
dragon.
question like, have they come and we've turned them down, or
No,
in
it was just
general?
like what like crazy offers that you guys have gotten maybe based on Mystery Team.
I would argue that him being on
I
Community.
would not be on Community without Mystery Team.
Yeah,
No
okay.
joke. Literally, those guys saw Mystery Team and was like, oh, we want to be.
They were at the screening a year ago.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, I think that's it. Thanks, guys.
Oh,
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Thanks.
Thanks for sticking around. I really appreciate it.
Great
It's
to
nice
see you
meeting you.
again.
Yes, thank you.
Oh, thank you. Good to see you.
We see you.